Hey guys, Jess from Knockout Print Shop, and today I have for you my October reflection. So these are basically the Jess Musings videos where I reflect on my previous month and kind of show you how I use that reflection to then go and goal set for the upcoming month. So I do use, as you know, our monthly reflection inserts. I think this is a really good tool that helps you kind of break down your reflection each month. I do think this might be cool as a weekly tool as well. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know, because I've been toying around with the idea of making a weekly reflection, which I think may make doing the monthly reflection more effective. Okay, so first section is the memories and highlights. So when I kind of think back to the month, what I'll do with my planner to figure out what my memories and highlights were is I will look through my sidebar little highlight section. For 2020, we actually have a sticker now that fits here and says weekly highlights. But this has been my makeshift one that we've had. So when I look back at my different highlights over the week, if I had weeks, I'd have to pick three. One of my highlights would be we moved our kettlebells and our gym equipment over to a local gym here, and we've been training in a gym again, so that's really awesome. I love training in our garage at the apartment, but I hated the expense of it, having to rent the garage, and it's nice to just be in a big open space and around other people, so that's been really cool. The other thing we got to do last weekend was go to a gym in Nashville that was hosting what's called the Tactical Strength Challenge by Strong First. So I was a Strong First kettlebell instructor, and the organization Strong First puts on a biannual, so in October and April, what they call their Tactical Strength Challenge, and it's your max deadlift, your max amount of pull-ups, and your max amount of snatches in 5 minutes. And I've never seen this competition in action, and it was super cool. I got to meet some local Tennessee and Middle Tennessee fitness people in the kind of kettlebell strength, Strong First world, which was really nice to kind of get out there and meet some new people. So that was fun. And then the super nerdy thing we did last weekend as well was we went to Locust Grove Historical Site in Louisville, Kentucky for their 18th century market fair. If you follow me on, I think I posted this on the Print Shop Instagram. If not, over on my personal Instagram, I often post how I love the Townsend YouTube channel. It's this 18th century cooking and history show on YouTube that is so good. So I don't even know how I found this channel. I think it's one of those like YouTube recommended to me, and I have no idea why. But I clicked on it, and they go back into like these old 18th century cookbooks and make different recipes and talk about different history things. And it's very, very cool. The guy, John, who hosts the show, is like the most positive person, and just watching him just puts you in such a good mood. Even if you don't care, you could care less about 18th century cooking and history. I guarantee if you watch a few of his shows, you'll be like, I was in a bad mood and now I'm not anymore, because this guy is just got the best attitude. And his little daughter sometimes is co-host. It's the cutest thing. So anyways, long story short, I've been like obsessed with 18th century cooking and different nerdiness. So we went to the fair. We drove 2.5 hours to go to it, and it was fun. It was a beautiful day outside, and we kind of like walked around, and long story short, it was fun. Okay, moving on to accomplishments. So at the beginning of the month, end of September, beginning of October, we were obviously on the house hunt, and at the end of September, we had found a house that we liked and finally put an offer on it. Well, that kind of unraveled in the beginning of October. So I think I was going through, earnest money, inspection, blah, 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 and then we had our home inspection on the 3rd, and we were not happy with some things that came back. So by Friday the 4th, we had pulled out our contract and moved on. So while that sucked, it actually was one of those things where it was for the best. Looking back, we probably overlooked some things, and we learned a lot about what we really wanted in a home and just different things like that. So I think everything happens for a reason and all of that stuff, but it was good to go through the process, even though it was an expensive $500 learning lesson learned. We now have a clearer picture of what we want, and that helps. So, sometimes you got to pay for those lessons. Accomplishment number 2 may seem very silly, but adulting. So it was when I finally went to my GI doctor's appointment on the 14th. Again, if you've listened to my videos before, the past since April, I've been having I was having for a while some pretty severe GI issues. I have a previous history of ulcerative colitis, so I was having what I thought was flaring issues. So finally found a doctor once we moved here in Tennessee and all of that, and went to her on the 14th, and really nice doctor and all that. So that was good. I've been feeling a lot better, which has been good. And now I have a doctor, which is nice to have the support of a doctor. Unfortunately, some of my testing didn't come back great, so I have to go get more testing. But again, there's that. So I was happy I finally adulted and did that. And then end of the month here, just the other day, I signed up for the You Need a Budget, or YNAB trial, and wanted to see how that is going to work for me. I have a pretty good system using Excel spreadsheets and mint.com for my budgeting and all my finance stuff, but I've been hearing so much about YNAB that I'm like curious about it. And when I saw that they have like a 34-day trial, I'm like, I can figure out if I like this and if it's worth the $7 a month in a month. So started using that on the 31st, getting ready for the November budget, and so far totally nerding out on it. Love it. So there's that. I will report back more on that at the end of the month, of the end of November. Okay, lessons learned. Talked a little bit about that already. I think one of the things, like the main thing, is that you can't force things. You have to trust your gut and you have to trust the process. I think this can come in all areas of life. I was really struggling with if we should make an offer on that house, and I think it falling through after we did make the offer, after going through all that inner conflict, made me realize that my inner conflict was actually my gut telling me probably to not do it. So I think, again, expensive learning lesson, but it reminded me of what, kind of how to hone into my intuition. That you can't force things. Like if you keep going back and forth on something too much, there's probably a good chance you either need to just pump the brakes and let it be, versus kind of trying to make something work. That also for me right now has to do with like career stuff, which is going to sound weird because obviously I'm filming this on our business at YouTube. We have a successful planner product shop, but we're really efficient at our systems that we have in place to get orders out, to produce new products, our whole system, which Matt actually covers a lot of the tasks, guys. Like I'm the face and the customer service and the marketing, and he's the technical one on Adobe Illustrator and doing all of that, doing our photography, printing, doing all of the technical stuff, which opens me up for a lot of time. Now, when we lived in Illinois, I was running my gym full time, and I was just, participating in our shop to do customer service and some marketing, and Matt was getting out the orders, fulfilling the orders, doing all of that. Now, over the past year and a half, since I haven't had the gym, since we moved to North Carolina and now Tennessee, I have a lot more time on my hands. So it's been good for me to learn to slow down and not have to hustle all the time, but it's really had me kind of contemplating where I need to devote that time and been really conflicted on that. I should do a whole video on this whole thing because this could take hours to explain. But having been a former psychotherapist, a life coach, a gym owner, a strength coach, and been kind of in the service, like helping world, and now being in a more product-based world was an adjustment. Now, granted, I get to kind of provide value and talk with you guys in our Facebook group and do some more service-based things that does feel fulfilling. With how much time I have on my hands, I feel that I need to find something to devote more of that time to, potentially career-wise. And I've been on the struggle bus with trying to figure it out for some time. So roundabout to say that I'm realizing I can't force things. I need to just let the process unfold. Take up opportunities that come my way. I did meet somebody at that event I was telling you guys about, that strength event in Nashville, that is interested in doing some coach mentoring with me. So I think my next role is out there. I just have to let it be. Okay, I think that was way too much rambling. Next, put yourself out there. So I keep saying that I want to cultivate friendships and I want to build more relationships and friendships in my life because when we left Illinois, I've never had like a ton of friends. I've been very work oriented, so I never had tons of friends, but I did have obviously friends. I lived in Illinois for most of my life. And when we moved to Raleigh, I was hoping that I could kind of meet new people and build new friendships, and it just didn't happen. And then as soon as we realized we weren't going to stay there, we really stopped putting ourselves out there. And then now we moved in Tennessee. I already have some connections here, so it's already been better. I've met with a lot of the people that I've had connections with here in Tennessee. And why I say put yourself out there is this past weekend when we went to the tactical strength event, Zach, was kind of like the head coach at it, we were heading out and he's like, hey, you guys should come kind of after party with us, come to eat or have a drink. And I was like, Matt looked at me because I'm usually the one that makes the decisions. And back in the day, I didn't really do a lot of social things because after being, coaching all day and being tired and talking, I didn't really want to do any more kind of social connecting relationship stuff. So Matt kind of looked at me thinking like she's going to say no and he'd prefer to be out. And I was like, yeah, we'll meet you out. I think Matt was like, oh my God, no way. But I was like, I have to put myself out there. Yes, we don't like to eat out a lot. And yes, we don't like to spend money. But sometimes you have to really think about what's important. And for me, it was like I need to put myself out there in these social situations if I expect to make friends. It's not always going to work. I don't have to be best friends with these people, but I need to get out there and be social. And the great thing that came from it is I had awesome conversations. I met some really cool people. And again, one girl wants to maybe do some mentoring, hire me as a mentor. Number 3, downtime is good. You need more than you realize, and creativity takes time. So kind of piggybacking off this idea of I have more time, is I'm starting to realize for me to figure out what's next for me, that I need to embrace actual downtime and kind of having this space to be creative and think. I'm usually like a doer. I need to be actively doing something. So I need to kind of, again, remember that the only way to kind of let things unfold sometimes is to not be in control and not be constantly doing things, and let that downtime allow your mind to just explore ideas. So there's that. Okay, the next part should be pretty quick. So habits have kind of been the same for the past, I don't even know, when did I start this meditation reading, daily reading? Okay, so I think I've been on this whole meditate, read thing for how long? Okay, so it started in August. So August, September, October. So for 3 months straight, I've been working on reading daily, journaling daily, and meditating daily, and it's been like 100%. There's a few times when I don't do it twice a day, but daily is my goal. So I have good routines, and those 3 habits are going really well. I haven't added too much to it because I'm just kind of trying to see these out through the rest of the year before I reevaluate what needs to change. I continue to feel that the meditation and the journal piece needs to shift some way. So my kind of next steps is, because I'm feeling this desire to be done with the meditation and the journaling. And what I really think is, I think my mind is fighting the meditation because I have lots of things spinning in my head. And I need to find a way to be more, intentional, purposeful, something with my journaling. So there's various ideas I want to explore with kind of tweaking those 2 things, whether I do something that's more movement orientated for my meditation or try some more guided journaling that's I answer specific questions. So if you journal or meditate, let me know your thoughts on this stuff, because I want to know, I'd love to hear other people's experiences with it, what worked, what doesn't work, all of that. Okay, so the other thing I tried to add last month was hobby or fun time. So after doing the Makse Life Planner life assessment, which I need to link that below, and in the September reflection too, I forgot to do that. But I realized I don't add a lot of fun recreation time to my life. I've always been, like I said, a worker. So I was like, I'm going to do hobby stuff at least, I think it was twice a week. And I was going to focus on my hand lettering stuff. Totally didn't happen. I think I did it 3 times. So I think problem is I don't really have a why. I don't really have a commitment to it. I need to explore really what hobby time means to me and what I need, because I think I just kind of arbitrarily picked this because I feel that area of my life is kind of sucking. I need to fix it. Let me do something. And so I think I need to be a lot more thoughtful about that. So I don't know if I'm going to continue working on that quite yet. All right, so goals, things I completed were my doctor's appointments. I'm researching. Well, we can kind of flip to my mission board here. So doctor's appointment, did that. I haven't put all my little X's on here. I use our little clear X's from our goal clear transparent sticker sheet. did my doctor's appointment. I've been better about hydrating. I'm not tracking it. I'm just trying to be mindful of it. I notice at the end of the day, if I've only filled up my water bottle a few times, like, you kind of sucked at it today, do better. So I'm not, again, kind of being real rigid about that. The whole house thing was supposed to be closing on the house. Clearly that didn't happen, so that got shifted. Personal was invest time in hobbies and fun. I don't even know why I put the X there, although I did have some fun things, but that's just kind of, we talked about that. Social, explore community, definitely got that done this month. Financial, I just use more as like a to-do versus a goal, like paying our sales tax, taking care of house stuff, again, done. The dream big stuff was focused on working on my goals for 2020. So I used that Makse Life Compass assessment and I started to explore very loosely what my goals are going to be for 2020. And then I continue to research permaculture because once we do get a house, ideally we'd have a few acres of unrestricted land and I want to do some homesteading stuff, some permaculture gardening, maybe have chickens, things like that. So I'm just been like research mode there. And then business, I always add this one in on my mission board, is invest in one project. So I always have like 70 million ideas rolling around in my head and I'm like, oh, one day I should do this. Oh, one day I should do that. And then I'll kind of hone in on one and be like, so basically here's what happens. So I honed in on one, I'm like, I just need to start one. Like that needs to be the goal, just start. Because if you start, you can figure out if it's something you want to do or not, but at least you got started and that can eliminate it. So at the very beginning of the month, I was like, I'm finally going to do a beginner strength ebook and program. So I started working on it. And then every day I was working on it, I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. Some of you that are watching this are like, no, you've been asking you for fitness stuff, please do it. There's a few other elements behind that actually becoming a reality that I don't think is the best place for me to start. I don't have my coaching website up anymore. I don't really market myself in the fitness world anymore. We could do a whole video on my love-hate of the fitness industry. I do think there is pieces missing in the fitness industry that need to be filled, gaps that need to be filled to help people that are interested in legitimately learning how to be strong. And there needs to be some beginner level programming out there that's easily attained, easily understood, easy to understand and implement. But I'm still finding that even when I start on that project of writing the ebook and creating the program, that I'm really torn and that's the place I want to go, and I'm not enjoying that project. So I don't know if that's the route I need to go right now, but I'm glad I at least tried to start it. And I did start it. And then that doesn't feel like the right spot yet. So I don't know. Have you guys ever been in that position where you have like all these ideas going on in your head and you start to work on one and then you're like, no, this isn't right. But you have people that kind of are asking for that information from you, so you feel like you should do it. I don't know. There's a lot there to unravel. So anyways, I got a lot of things done. So the one project thing is still shifting. I need to pick something different to focus on as my one project to spend some time in and see if I start it and I don't enjoy it, then move on. Continue to focus on cultivating friendship. My other thing I really want to focus on is sharing value and resources. I think if I just use social media and use the concept of sharing different things that I have information on or knowledge in, that I'll start to realize what people A, enjoy hearing from me on, and B, what I enjoy sharing. So maybe that'll help me figure out the next step of my adulting. Use YNAB and totally get my 2020 goals kind of more in, set. Hoping to do that next month. Things I'm grateful for: doctors that listen and care. I had a great first visit with an eye doctor and the GI doctor this past month, and it's nice. I'm not big into conventional medicine, and doctors usually make me nuts, but both these doctors were pretty good, and I felt like heard and listened to, and it was a good experience. And I'm glad that I have access to it. Number 2, the opportunity to meet new people that are super welcoming. I thought that was really great, because sometimes when you work from home, you feel like a hermit and you forget how to be social. So I'm very grateful for the people that I met that were super welcoming and like brought out the regular talkative Jess. And then number 3, the time to continue exploring my next step. Talked a lot about that. I would rate the month as an 8, and it was a lot of learning, a lot of list making and learning. So things got done and I'm continuing to learn a lot. So, student of life. All right, so November mission board is done. So for health, I'm going to follow up with the doctor, and I wrote this down before I'd heard back about my test results. That came back showing I needed more tests. So that'll be the steps for the next one. More testing, colonoscopy, all that fun stuff. Personal, again, I said I want to set my 2020 goals, or at least get them loosely set, tweak my habits, kind of figure out, continue with them, but as I kind of go through them this month, figure out what's really working and not working. And then schedule one adventure, like one fun thing for Matt and I to do. Social is just keeping it more intentional about cultivating friendship. Doesn't need to have a specific action step set with it. Home, recycle. This sounds so silly, but the one thing about some of what I've found here we live in Gallatin, Tennessee, that is different than what I'm used to back in Chicago, or even when we lived in Raleigh, is they have like pretty, easily accessible recycling programs for residential, people. And in Gallatin, they don't have a residential recycling program offered by their village or city. So when we first got here, I asked our apartment if they recycle, and they said, yeah. Well, then we started putting stuff in a recycling bag and leaving it out for the trash pickup, and the guy just throws it in the dumpster. So I was like, okay, clearly they don't know what recycling means. So I did some Googling, and they do have a recycling drop-off center. So now we're going to start separating our recycling and bringing it. Long story short, we need to get back on a recycling game. And then make one new thing. I like to try to make one new thing kitchen-wise, like homemade from scratch thing a month. I don't know what it's going to be. It might be vermicelli that I saw on the Townsend show on YouTube. Let's see. Financials, usually again, just tasks, not necessarily goals. Start Wine app, already started using it. My nerd brain loves it. And just shift $140 into savings. Dream big. We have continued research with like the home and garden and permaculture stuff. I've got books that I've been reading, so just continue with that. And I think the next project I'm going to work on is I still have this idea of wanting to create some kind of wellness planner. We'll see, guys. Don't get excited, because every time I have an idea, I'm like starting it and then saying, no, it's not for me. So I think at minimum, I need to get a working rough draft done that I can test. So we'll see. That's a loose goal. Business is we're taking our holiday break. So if you're watching this before Thanksgiving and you don't know, we close for Thanksgiving weekend, that Thursday through that Sunday. We don't do a Black Friday sale. That's like the one, not that's the only time we close a shop for the year, but it is one time every year we close during that time. Continue with our weekly releases and continue finding ways to create value. So that's my goals for November. Okay, so I think that is all. These tend to be long, my Just Musing videos. I hope you guys get some value from this. Let me know how your October went, what you have planned for November. If you have any questions about doing reflections or goal setting, let me know. I'm always looking for ideas on how I can provide you guys with more value. Like I said, if you didn't know, my education and experience I was a psychotherapist, life coach, gym owner, and strength coach. So I really do enjoy providing you guys with support and guidance and things like that. So let me know if you have questions. Okay, let me know how you're doing, and I will see you guys in the next one.